Hello everyone, I am Tacet, and today I'm going to be going over everything with the newly added Gems of War hero class of the Warpriest. Going to be going over all the teams for the event, the hero class itself, and then the weapon and just some various teams for it. It's a pretty average hero class as it doesn't really excel at anything other than the fact that it is a stun option. There aren't too many viable stun options out there, and this thing could potentially be used as one. Not the absolute greatest, but it does end up getting the stun at a 50% chance every single turn, and just looking at its traits, it's actually pretty good. Unfortunately, all of its trees are relatively bad, as we're going to see. But as far as the event, there are two main ways to really run it. And it's either running a bunch of Falconers into various red weapons, or running a bunch of Falconers and Khorvash into various red weapons. Ideally, early on, when you're doing the earlier battles, you're going to want to use a Dawnbringer into triple or double Falconer Khorvash. And if you don't have this, if you don't have Dawnbringer, you can go use Summer's Fury or any other red weapon that happens to hit all enemies. And other than that, you would eventually switch into Mang so that you can get a lot quicker. You might even want to go into Khorvash at that point because you might need mana drain just to make sure that your hero ends up surviving. Obviously, if you do switch over to Mang, you're probably going to want to go and use Titan so you can keep gaining brown barriers if you're going to be doing the later ones. But as far as this event, I'm actually going to be skipping over on it for once just to go and manually level them all up, because our options aren't really the greatest. It's pretty much just spam Falconer, as if we go under all of our options here, we really only have 3 things that aren't horrifically bad, at least in the context of this game mode, and that's Falconer, Khorvash, and Divine Ishbala. So that's pretty much the full extent of what we have to use for this particular event. Anyways, we'll just go show one battle with it real quick. As far as this, you just get your red weapon up, cast it out. If it's in the case of Mang, you just play it like any Mang team. You just keep taking brown skin barrier off a Titan and just keep poking them with Mang so that you have one-shot kills, and then you just one-shot kill everything. Obviously, we'd want to be taking red whenever we can, as we have a ridiculously high amount of red gain. And we just keep casting this here and there in order to get our barriers, as well as just doing damage. And at this point, looks like we'll be able to go and 3-shot them. If it's taking anything more than 3, it's probably about time to go and switch over to Mang. But while it's still 3, it's still worth using this. So we'll throw that down again, and one more will do it. Almost ends up clipping it with it. And Dawnbringer does, in the case of this particular weapon too, it does gain boost ratio per yellow on your team. So since we have a pure team of yellow, that is quite a bit of additional damage. That's for sure. So, no reds right here. Fortunately, he's not really giving us any either, but we just go take that yellow. Doesn't even surge, but we'll be able to take the other yellow Dawnbringer. There's no way he's going to be able to kill that. Luckily, he doesn't get a summon to delay things, and it just goes down. But yeah, that's pretty much going to be the event for all of this, and just gives the same reward as always. No additional benefit for it being a weekend long one, unfortunately, though, but still has the same reward that any normal class event would end up having. Just a little bit of gems, a little bit of EXP, and ending in a single orb. So, as far as this hero class itself, it is very, very average as far as everything on it. The biggest thing really holding it back is it doesn't have a half mana start. As I mentioned earlier, its traits, if you just look at it alone, actually look pretty amazing. It gives 2 to a random skill on all your allies, has 40% score reduction, which is tied at highest, though Dragon Guard is better. And it has, well, it has the same amount, but the perks are better. And Wrath of Anu, which is probably the main reason that you would use it, other than the fact that this counts as a human, but it's a 50% chance to randomly stun a enemy at the start of every turn. This isn't really too good. Phoenicia ends up getting the same thing for Burn, but still, at least stun is way better than what Burn is, so it's a little bit more viable. And just due to the lack of stun options, basically the only real stunner in the game, for the most part, with a few exceptions, is Khorvash. So this is a slight alternative to that if you ever don't specifically want to run Khorvash, or for whatever reason, like Guild Wars Defends, where you already used Khorvash and you can't run Khorvash again, yet you might still need a stun for a specific team. But as far as this thing, it counts as Leonis Empire, and the more noteworthy one of that, it counts as a human. Humans generally lack synergy with each other, and this will help make the synergy a little bit better since you can use a mana generating weapon. Speaking about mana generating weapon, it actually does have a mana generating weapon as well. It is basically like what Nyx and all of them are like. It drains up to 14, or up to 12 mana. It has a 14 mana cost, but it drains up to 12 mana, just like Nyx and all of them. And it then creates a random color instead of a specific color, so it's kind of like a Quaidle, the rainbow snake, in that case, in that it just creates basically 12 random gems every single time. Of course, it's only up to 12. If they have 9 mana, it'll only create 9 gems. If they have 8, 8. But if they do have like 15, it'll go just drain 12 of it, and you would get 12 onto the board. It also does damage with it, which is pretty nice for a mana drainer, especially one that actually has extra turn potential. And yeah, overall it's pretty decent. Ends up gaining barrier, ends up gaining a bunch of additional mana, 2 to all yellow as well as 1 to all allies. Has cleanse, it's pretty defensive, and will end up giving you a lot of mana accumulation. And it's definitely a nice alternative for Anu Scepter, so that you don't need to do that. Instead, you can just go into Symbol of Anu, and it only requires 250 wins, so no need to really buy it. You can easily obtain that in about an hour and a half, 2 hours, just from spamming Explore or any other easy area that is possible to win very quickly. So, as far as the talent trees, this is probably the most disappointing part of this hero class, unfortunately, because they are bad. It has War, Light, and Morale, which doesn't really do much at all, like whatsoever. You gain a little bit of attack on various stuff on War, same thing as on Morale. The only things that are particularly relevant are the 2 life every single extra turn, as well as a little bit of extra yellow, and that is pretty much it. Maybe the fact that you can use it for extra 1 glory or 10% EXP, but everything on this thing is just so bad, and unfortunately for that reason it's not really going to be used much. Great traits to a degree, but its perks just have horribleness all around, at least compared to other hero classes. But yeah, it's pretty underwhelming. It's not going to be used for much, unfortunately. Still might be worth leveling a little bit just to have around as a stun option, but more often than not, you will be using Khorvash instead. But it is still used in human teams, and with that being said, let's go over a bunch of human teams for it. Oh no, we're up against... Okay, good. It's not anything too annoying. So, human team. This is probably one of the few things that it's actually going to be super viable in. Using this hero class with Khorvash, Tesla, and Holy Saint Astra, there's several different weapons that you can get away with doing this with. You could use the weapon that the hero comes with, you can use Emerald Tier, and I'm pretty sure there's several others. I'm specifically going to be showing Emerald Tier because Emerald Tier generally doesn't get much play. It's a possibly really good weapon. It just needs that good synergy in the future to actually make it viable. And it somewhat has it with Holy Saint Astra. She ends up enchanting all humans, which is our entire team. And this ends up getting boost ratio based on every single enchant that we have on our team, not counting itself. So that's a lot of extra gem spawn. We can basically get 14 greens off of that, which is quite a bit. Should be getting us an extra turn. Goes right back into that. She keeps giving us armor and HP. HP to keep us alive. Armor to make Tesla do more damage. Tesla boost ratios on all armor in the battle. And we just keep doing damage based on Emperor Khorvash plus Tesla. And we don't even necessarily need to take their mana because Holy Saint Astra will basically keep enchant on them perpetually. So that will always be getting basically 2 mana per turn on our entire team since they're all humans. Unfortunately, I don't believe there's a human pet yet, so we don't actually have that little bit of extra stat bonus from that. But still, does have that little bit of human synergy going on. So we'll go... Oh, forgot to take the green. I didn't get an extra turn anyways. But that's almost good to a degree because we can let him get mana. He does have immune to mana drain on this, though one really nice thing about this hero class is it could potentially allow us to drain it since it randomly stuns, or 50% chance to randomly stun something per turn that could potentially stun one of the things that have immune to mana drain, and then we'd be able to go and mana drain it. Like here, this thing normally has immune to mana drain. This one normally has immune to mana drain. Actually, this entire team normally has immune to mana drain, but we keep getting 1 stun per turn that will be undoing that. So as you can see right there, we did end up getting that much needed stun. I almost just feel like Khorvashing here, but I do kind of want those greens, but if we miss, that gives them Yagway. So I guess we'll go for it. We'll throw it out into first slot. Wait, did I just misclick one of the other troops? I think I just did. Fail. But he is still drained. We'll go and throw a Khorvash there. Obviously, we need to make sure he not only stays stunned, but also not have that mana. We can try getting a Tesla. I kind of just want to go for the enchant, though, so we'll move that. Go for our enchant, get all of our armor and HP up, and then we could go repeat the cycle. So this will automatically have mana in 2 turns. I think we're just going to go for a Tesla on the next turn. Oh, never mind. Khorvash is rocking the mana. But you could go. He's going to go for red to purple here. I guess we'll deny some of this just so he gets a little bit less value. Luckily, we get the extra turn off the top there, which allows us to do a billion different drains. We can go and try draining him again. Oh, wait, duh. Why did I try draining with this? Never mind, that's the orb weapon. I'm trying to use this thing like it's the other weapon. My bad. But yeah, let's go Khorvash him again. Trying to use it like the hero weapon. But we'll do that. Throw a Tesla down. Get that in there. We'll throw the way we actually use this weapon is you enchant everything, and then you go for it. Fail. But we'll do that. Oops. Put that down again. Get all of our greens that we're going to be needing there in order to get our mana back into Holy Saint Astra. She already has her enchant for herself, so that's going to get it up naturally over time as well. But I don't really think we need to do much with this turn. We have like a bunch of yellow we could take, but it's kind of redundant since we're just going to fill right back into it. So we'll just take a purple there. So we'll just throw this down again, throw the orb down again, and just let everything kind of slowly get up in time as we're basically boosting up Tesla. Not the greatest of things, but it does end up getting the job done, that is for sure. We'll go through this down again. And as far as human teams are concerned, this is about one of the highest synergies there currently are, which isn't really saying much, but it does fill that gap that humans normally lack, which is the whole mana accumulation issue that they generally tend to have. But we'll go and throw Tesla down, and one more should do it. This team just absolutely hates barriers, because Tesla in general is really bad against barriers because of how she distributes her damage and wastes her turn every single time that she does so. But we'll get her buff again. We have a ridiculous amount of durability. She does have to waste her turn every single time, which is one of the biggest things that's actually holding Holy Saint Astra from being in pretty viable troop. It's just the fact that it is so delayed by the fact that it keeps having to waste its turn every single time you want to do that. But we'll go for a Khorvash here, throw into Tesla, and that should be way more than enough damage here with how much armor we have. That's hitting relatively high off its boost ratio, and we get an arcane for it. But anyways, let's go over to other teams real quick. So, next one. It looks like we're up against Skull Spam. There's a good chance we might lose here. But we're going to be going with a bunch of mana drain, so hopefully we can outpace him. So here is the weapon I was trying to use accidentally the previous battle. This thing drains up to 12 mana, we'll have our damage poke, and we'll be able to just randomly gain our extra turns. But utilizing the extra turn aspect a little bit more in the next team. But for now, let's go with this. We'll throw down our purple down, get all the mana that we need right there. Go throw a brown so we have the full Ragnagord. Let's see, looks like we throw it on the blue. Should give us most of the mana we need. We didn't cascade the rest. We do have a Mercy there, so we can throw that right into Infernus. Also ends up healing in case we need more durability, just in case the hero isn't tanky enough on its own, which it probably won't be, given that we're up against Skull Spam. Even 40% reduction isn't necessarily going to help too much against that. I'll throw our Infernus down. Should be able to get a drain next turn, because he's most likely going to take blue or something, or just gain mana in general, like he's doing. So we can only get a 10 drain here. I kind of do want to wait just so we could try getting a little bit bigger drain than that if we can. So we'll go through a skull, he'll take his mana, and luckily he doesn't get all the way to top, all the way to max. This doesn't drain all of it, but it will drain 12. Creates 12 of a random gem. In that case, we end up getting ourselves our blue, which is pretty nice. So we'll go and let's see. So we can go and do this again to either get our what's it called, the blue or the purple off the drain. So we end up getting the blue there. I would do this for blue, green, or purple. So the fact that he's using a lot of similar colors makes it quite easy to keep looping this into whatever color we want for the most part. But we just go and kill it out with Infernus and do it that way. But yeah, that's pretty much the team in a nutshell as far as what it could do. Let's go into extra turn spam now and see if, yeah, that's a real team. That's a key team, or a version of key teams. I've never seen someone use Greed and Leprechaun on one. That's a little bit overkill. I don't think you need both. But go give this a shot. Well, I guess he's using it as mana generator, but still, that's a little overkill. But anyways, let's see what we can actually end up getting a drain on here. He does have 2 empowered, so if we got our drain super quick, we'd actually be able to utilize that. Unfortunately, he just got a freeze on us on one of the colors we kind of need. We could get a green or purple off of that. I don't think we really need either of those two, though. Ideally, right here, we'd want to go and fill our Valkyrie to full mana, but I don't think we can actually get that at the moment, so let's move that over, go for the red, get our Valkyrie down, and go from there. Hopefully, we'll be unfrozen by then. Only reason we're... Oh, wow, Key, what are you doing? Yeah, we can't even take the skull for an extra turn because he froze us randomly at the beginning of battle, so it looks like we will die before we can do anything. Good job, Key team. Well, apparently it works. That's for sure. Okay, let's try this again. We're probably going to get frozen again on this particular team, but should be fine. He's using Sea Troll to try to get a bunch of blues. Though he does have... Oh, never mind. We can't drain the Doom. I was going to say we have a Doom that we could get blues off of, but actually we cannot. Though we could get reds off the other one, so if nothing else, we could do that. So we'll go take that. We'll go throw a Valkyrie. Looks like we got a much better start than the previous battle. Nothing that we can actually really throw onto, though. Like, none of it's an extra turn. So we won't be able to do that off of it. I think we still go for it, though, just to get a little bit of mana. This team is heavily based on extra turns, though, and spamming as many as we possibly can. But we just need to get the board in place before we can really do anything. So now we can kind of start doing stuff. We are going to get a red spawn off of that, so we do want to make sure we toss Valkyrie first so we can go feed her mana back in if we are going to try doing that. Before we do, though, let's go get a Megavore just so we tear everything. We actually don't have enough to go tear away that Doom, though I don't think I want to do that. I want to go try bringing Hero into kill range. So we'll do that. That brings Hero essentially into kill range, because now we can just go and do that on him. We're only going to get 9 instead of 12, but it is enough to kill him, and that's the main reason why we end up doing that. And of course we end up getting our red because it's based on a random color of whatever they have. So we'll go and get our convert again. So we can't drain this. He does have immune, and he has immune to stun in a way that we'd never be able to stun him. So can't actually go and drain that. It's one of the only few things in the entire game that this combination can't drain. Most mana drain immune troops can all be stunned. The only exception to this is actually the Doom, so it's kind of funny that he's using one of those, as that is one of the only few things that this won't properly work on. But still, we'll get that down. We can still use it on the Mythic there, oddly enough. The Common has immune. The Mythic, not so much. Okay, we'll go and, since this is still extra turn spam, we'll just go for a little bit more extra turn. And it doesn't look like we really got too much value out of that. We'll just go into Skull and then clean it up with the weapon, or really anything, every single thing here. We'll end up killing it. Get our drain, we'll randomly do one's color, in this case purple, and that is that. So this hero class, is it really worth using? Not really for the most part. I can't think of any instance in like PvP and most other game modes where you would want to go this thing instead of Khorvash. It is kind of like pre-nerf Khorvash in that it does have a higher skull mitigation to the point that it does, from a durability standpoint, feel like what Khorvash used to be. But as far as its stunning capabilities, it is definitely way, way less than what a Khorvash normally is. But I guess you do get the benefit of being able to use any kind of weapon type with it. But overall, I just feel like its trees are too underwhelming to really make this thing worth using most instances. We are going to, of course, next patch be getting the capability of being able to change into any class when we need it. So whenever something is super viable, it might actually be able to be used, whereas right now it's just basically Titan everything. So this thing might be able to get some usage in that very, very rare instance where you're going to need to throw down a stun for whatever reason, where you wouldn't normally be able to use Khorvash. So things like class battles, or things like some Guild War defense, and basically anywheres where you're restricted from using a Khorvash, and Delves, where you're restricted from using a Khorvash, but you're allowed to use a stun, is basically the only instance other than pure human teams where this thing is going to be used. But anyways, guys, if you guys have any other questions, feel free to leave in the comment section below. Thank you all so much for watching, and have a wonderful weekend. Best of luck with the event. Goodbye, everyone!